The Tudor catalogue is becoming synonymous with the Black Bay. And as much as I love the Black Bay, in fact I own two, the Tudor Black Bay 58 and the Black Bay 54, I think some of their best offerings are found outside of the Black Bay family. And if I may be so bold, I think the Tudor Pelagos FXD is probably the most underrated watch in their current catalogue. Let me tell you why. So the Tudor Pelagos collection in general doesn't get the love it deserves, especially for how robust these watches are, but I specifically want to talk about the FXD. These were released in 2021, celebrating Tudor's relationship with the French Navy or Marine Nationale, dating all the way back to the 1950s. I think watch lovers and collectors like to romanticize the days of military watches and field watches, but we forget military watches still exist. So my husband and I are a military family. He just retired from the Royal Navy after 24 years in April, so really recently. And he now works on the civilian side of submarine stuff, contracts, safety, selling from the civilian production end to the Navy. But military watches, particularly marine military watches, appeal to us for this reason. The Tudor Pelagos FXD feels like this continuation of Tudor and military collaborations. This was designed with input from the French Navy commandos, and the case back is stamped with MN and the year. So if you purchase this in 2021, it will say MN21, or 2022, it'll say MN22, with the MN standing for Marine Nationale. This is actually used out in the field, being used professionally by Marine commandos in Marine Nationale. This is like if astronauts were still wearing the Speedmaster and they collaborated with Omega to design the Speedmaster that would be perfect for them. To me, this gives the FXD a cool factor that I don't think any other watch in the Tudor catalog has. Which leads me perfectly to reason number 2 of why I think these are so underrated. Okay, I know calling it cool isn't very descriptive, but it just has this cool factor. And I think it is a lot of the things people would consider a problem with the FXD that are the very things that make it cool. Some people don't like the fixed spring bars that limit you to only wearing a NATO. I think it's the very thing that makes it so cool and sets it apart from every other watch in the catalog. Some people don't like the bidirectional bezel. Dive watches traditionally have a unidirectional bezel, but that isn't fit for the FXD's intended purpose, so it is bidirectional. It is the very thing that makes this cool. Plus, 99% of the comment section don't come at me saying that you need a unidirectional bezel. We all know that maybe you went snorkeling on your last family vacation, but you do not need a weapons-grade dive watch. For the 1% who are actually divers, you can say whatever you'd like. I've gotten off course. I need to stop ranting so much. It keeps interrupting every video. FXD, cool factor. The fully loomed bezel, big snowflake hands, highly legible square indices keeping in line with the Pelagos design language. I think it is the fact that they aren't your everyday desk diver like the Submariner or the Black Bay 58, Black Bay 54, that gives them the cool factor. This doesn't look good with your work suit? Good, because it's not supposed to. The coolness is the niche factor, if that makes sense, and having one of these says something about you. The FXD is sporty and robust, almost to the exclusion of city life or suburb life and those practicalities, which is just cool. The next two are big reasons on why I think this watch is so underrated, so starting with the specifications. So the Pelagos FXD has a case size of 42mm, a thickness of 12.75mm, and a lug-to-lug of 52 meters. I think this can sound large, but with the fixed lugs that turn downwards and the NATO strap butting right up to the case, it is a lot more wearable than how it initially sounds. So here it is on my 5.5-inch wrist versus my husband's 7-inch wrist. I have a pretty small wrist size, and my husband is quite average. 7 inches is a very average wrist. I think it is teetering on too big for me. I'd still wear it because I like oversized watches, but it is just right on my husband's 7-inch wrist. I'd personally recommend this for a 6.5-inch wrist size and up, but it definitely can be worn on a smaller wrist, depending on how comfortable you are with larger watch proportions. This watch has a titanium case, and every single surface is brushed, making it feel so sporty. It has 200 meters of water resistance, which is considerably less than the standard Pelagos, which has a mind-boggling 500 meters. But if we're being honest with ourselves, 200 meters is just fine. If you've ever gone deeper than 40 meters, comment a dolphin emoji down below. No liars. Don't try to lie to me. Don't try to lie to me and to yourself to make yourself feel cooler. You gotta stop ranting. You gotta stop. Keep going. Powering this watch is the COSC certified manufacturer caliber MT5602, which will give you 70 hours of power reserve. Now this watch is available in 2 different variations. So there's the blue, which is my favorite, made in collaboration with Marine Nationale, but there's also a black variation, which is generally the same as the blue, but it has 2 key differences. 1, a unidirectional bezel rather than a bidirectional bezel, and 2, it is not made in collaboration with any navy or any military thing. So depending on how big of a military dork you are, that could sway you towards one or the other. I really like the color scheme and the strap combination better on the black FXD. Little pops of color with that red in the Pelagos matching the strap. Come on. But losing Marine Nationale does lose a cool factor for me. But I am a dork. This might have no bearing on your preferences. All around, these are better specifications than you'll ever need at a price. As I was saying before I was rudely cut off, these are better specifications than you'll ever need at a price point that is hard to argue with. So the FXD retails for £3,590 or $3,850 USD. Now saying it is good value for money does not mean that it's cheap, because it is absolutely not. I just think the amount of watch that you're getting for the price is really, really good. A titanium watch, finished to an excellent degree, an in-house movement, 70 hours of power reserve, and more functionality than you could ever need. I don't know, I'm such a big fan of these. I aesthetically love them, I think they might be the coolest watch in the Tudor catalogue, and I just think they're so underrated. The only reason I don't own one is just because they're a wee bit too big for me to actually go buy one. I have absolutely no problem with the fixed lugs or the NATO. I think these are so cool. But as a card-carrying member of the Itty Bitty Wrist Committee, I am banished to wearing the Black Bay 54 all the days of my life. But anyways, guys, this is just my appeal as to why I think the Tudor Pelagos FXD is the most underrated watch in the modern Tudor catalogue. I'd love to know in those comments down below, do you agree, disagree? What do you think is the most underrated watch in the Tudor catalogue? Holler at your girl! And now, let's thank the gorgeous, fabulous, wonderful Pope tier patrons. Alright, you guys want a pregnancy belly update? Are you ready for this? Look at, nothing fits me. We're officially less than a month away to my due date. It's all coming too fast. It's all coming too fast, but gorgeous, fabulous, wonderful Pope tier patrons, you are the best people in the whole dang world. Thank you so much for supporting my weird little channel. Thank you all tier patrons. Thank you just like everyone who watches my videos. I'm so glad anyone enjoys this channel. But big, special, extra big shout out to the Pope tier patrons.